Mic test, mic test.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dabby, but you can call me Dabz. So today I'm going to be reviewing Fairest of All by Serena Valentino. And before I start this book review, I just want to say that this book is part of the Disney Villains series, and the Disney Villains series is about the villains of Disney. Wow, that's crazy. And it's kind of about their backstories and what happens in their lives before the original Disney story that we know. And this is the first book in the series, and I don't know if I want to try the other ones out or not. I might. So this book is about the original Disney tale Snow White, but instead of the main character being Snow White herself, the main character is the villain, which is the evil queen or the wicked queen. And we kind of get to see the evil queen's past and the reason that she became evil and why she came to hate Snow White and why she did the things that she did in the original Disney story. This book was okay. One thing that I really did like about the book was that I really liked the plot and I really liked the idea of the story, and especially seeing the evil queen and Snow White and their relationships change and shift throughout the book. That was so interesting to me, like how the evil queen became this like evil person in the first place, and also the evil queen's relationship with other characters, not as much as her and Snow White, but also those were cool to see as well. So there were a couple things that I personally didn't like that much. And one of them was that they never used the queen's name. Like, I don't even know what the evil queen's name is because they didn't use it. And I feel like what this did was it made the story seem unnatural and unrealistic, because every time her and another character had a conversation, they were just calling her the queen. Like, oh, the queen said this, blah, blah, the queen, blah, 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 instead of saying her actual name, which I don't know what it is, like I said before. And I also feel like this not only made it seem more unrealistic, but it also it made me feel distant and like not as much connected to the character as like I possibly could be because of that. So the next thing that I want to talk about in this book was that I feel like the author didn't like mention, I don't know how to explain this. Like, the author didn't mention things. Like, for example, there were a lot of gaps in the story or like the timeline of the story, and sometimes months or even years would go by in the story and the author wouldn't even mention it. Like, they were trying to follow Snow White's like growth and her growing up with like the evil queen getting older and stuff, but like sometimes just random months and years would go by and like it wouldn't say anything in the book. And I also feel like sometimes in this book there were like important events. Like, for example, I'll try to say this without giving spoilers, but the queen told a character to do something which was kind of important to the story, but it didn't explain how she did it or how the character took it. It just said the queen asked this character to do this. Like, there was no explanation to it. It was like, I don't know, it was just not filled, you know? Bonk. Why am I saying that like you can answer me, you know? The last kind of point that I didn't love myself was, even though the author like didn't explain important parts, I feel like she not over-explained, but overused words in some sentences. And one really good example was, I saw this Goodreads review. The person that wrote the review was talking about how the author kind of wrote multiple words that mean the same thing. Like, for example, I think she said like edged and trim in the same like sentence, and the words mean the same thing in that context. It was like deep blue edged with silver trim or something. And the Goodreads review explained that both of them meant the same thing in that like text, and that she only needed one or the other. And I feel like, yeah, I did see that she like overused vocabulary. She was like, this is blank and blank, like two different adjectives that are very, very similar to each other. And something that I noticed myself was that I feel like the author was trying to get this like old kind of fairy tale-ish writing style, but like it wasn't, and it didn't work as well. I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it. Okay. So one thing I did like about this book was that I feel like the author explained the emotions of the characters very well and like showed the emotions. And especially for the evil queen, it showed her like happiness, her rage, her sadness, her like anger. It was very like vibrant, and you could tell like what they were feeling at all times. And you can like kind of sense them like shifting, and I feel like that was really cool. Like their mood was like very boldly interpreted in this book. And the last thing that I want to mention is the ending of this book. I personally really like the ending. So it was kind of like the ending of Snow White, but from the queen's perspective, kind of. But I really liked it because I liked how the author explained the ending, and I liked the queen's kind of feelings towards the ending. I'm trying not to give spoilers, but like, yeah, I just liked the ending. You'll have to read the book to find out. What? Yeah. So overall, I gave this book around 3 out of 5 stars. And I think that this book would be good for people, kind of maybe younger audiences. I feel like would like this book more because, I don't know, I found like flaws in the writing style, but younger like audiences, like readers wouldn't like pay attention to that stuff. I just do because like I'm a booktuber, but like, yeah. So that will be the end of my book review. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then like this video and subscribe if you want more content like this. Happy reading. Happy reading. Wait, like this? 화장할 수 있어. I can't do the 눈썹, but I can do the purple, I think.